about the first 100 days of the Trump administration 2.0. Somebody say, hey. So when we look at how Trump is doing, one of the things that is a big topic right now, and we got a couple of things we'll talk about. One of them is tariffs. Let's do that first. So we saw again yesterday why tariffs work. If you use them, in a lot of times, if you use them the right way, as Trump told us, you never even have to use them. Just the fear of what it will do to other countries, and all Trump is trying to do is say. We were talking with somebody the other day. Whatever happened to the pursuit of the win-win? Mm-hmm. Hey, let's get into trade agreements that are fair. Let's help America's businesses. Let's help the entrepreneurs. Let's bring some manufacturing back here. Let's get on a level playing field. And if we're not going to do that, then we're going to use tariffs to try to accomplish this. And yesterday we had two countries that backed down pretty quick. Mm-hmm. Canada and Mexico. Here's J.D. Vance talking about how these tariffs are working.
Now, actually, I was in the air. I talked to the president very briefly about this. He spoke with the president of Mexico this morning, and the president of Mexico committed to putting 10,000 additional Mexican troops on that southern border, our southern border, of course, the Mexicans' northern border, to take law enforcement more seriously, to go after those Mexican drug cartels a little bit more aggressively. So for literally 3 days, I heard the far left in this country say that these tariffs would make Americans' lives worse off. And what actually happened is the Mexican government was so afraid of the tariffs that they actually are taking their border enforcement and their anti-cartel activity more seriously. That is not a pathway to making Americans worse off. That's a pathway to making Americans better off. Now,
amen. Mm-hmm.
So Trudeau folded in kind as well.
Yes, he did.
And then leading to a delay on the Canadian tariffs from 30 days for now.
Yeah, that what Canada said they'll implement $1.3 billion border plan.
Yes, sir.
And like a 0.8 fentanyls are.
Yeah.
Which really this is what that's about. It's the drug war and the cartel and that business and that what they're running. It's really to defeat that.
Right.
The cartels are only getting stronger, and for us to take them on as soon as possible is huge, absolutely huge for the security and future of our country, honestly.
So next, here's the new press secretary once again, and is talking about Americans' taxpayer dollars are going to be used differently now under the Trump administration, and she's explaining how this is something that bringing transparency into the government. So here we go.
Live coverage.
Through USAID over the past several years, these are some of the insane priorities that organization has been spending money on. $1.5 million to advance DEI in Serbia's workplaces, $70,000 for a production of a DEI musical in Ireland, $47,000 for a transgender opera in Colombia, $32,000 for a transgender comic book in Peru. I don't know about you, but as an American taxpayer, I don't want my dollars going towards this crap, and I know the American people don't either, and that's exactly what Elon Musk has been tasked by President Trump to do, to get the fraud, waste, and abuse out of our federal government. Thank you, guys.
So there's a little update from, is it DOGE? Is that how you say it?
DOGE. Department of Government Efficiency. And yeah, she was talking about the USAID, the U.S. aid. Last week I was talking about these NGOs, these non-governmental organizations across the planet, but they're funded by taxpayer money, so they're non-governmental government-backed organizations, and they're pushing these leftist ideologies. Mike Benz, a former Intel guy, gets really into the weeds if you want to learn about this and see how these organizations are even fomenting color revolutions across the globe. It's crazy. It's crazy.
Yeah, and so and look, this is not new. Do you remember? I remember comedians would come out and talk about how our tax dollars are being wasted and what they're being spent on, and so we're not uninformed this goes on, but I think we were all like, well, people keep revealing these things, but nobody's doing anything about it. Nothing. We all getting outraged. Yep. I can't believe my tax dollars went to the mating habits of the monarch butterfly. And you're like, well, but why don't we stop it? Yeah. Are we ever going to do anything about it? And so
Say
now
mating season of the monarch.
I do remember that one.
That's not even a stretch.
Yeah, and I think they came to the conclusion that it required a male butterfly and a female butterfly, something stupid.
There's only two genders in butterflies.
That was it. Yeah, that was the one. Yeah, but again, we've all said that's outrageous. but nothing's ever been done.
What is a transgender opera? What is that?
I do not know.
I thought that was just all operas.
All right. So
I like that.
So we're seeing. Do we want to come back and let Rubio explain this?
Yeah, Rubio tears into it too.
Rubio really explained it, but this time we're not just pointing out the problem. We're actually trying to solve the problem. What a concept. Bottom of the hour.
This is the Rick Burgess Show.
We're doing a little bit of a Trump update right now.
About Trump.
So the tariffs working again with Canada and Mexico really quick. Even after they did a little big talking, they finally realized we got to crumble to this. Now, as we all pointed out, Greg said the same thing in the break. We all of our lives have heard government waste of our tax dollars being lampooned and being made fun of, but nobody's ever done anything about it. So the Trump administration 2.0 has put together an agency that this is their whole job, and it's headed up by Elon Musk. Is it DOGE?
Department of Government Efficiency, and there are rumors that it's just like, and this is not a joke, it's 6 like slightly autistic guys, like young engineers that are just whiz kids that Elon Musk has weaponized, so to speak, and it's pretty hilarious.
Well, I don't want to hear anybody on the left talk about weaponizing anything in the government.
Yeah.
Because they do nothing but weaponize agencies in the government. Okay.
Right.
So you just, so back down just a little bit. Now, what is it? What is it? It's not frankly. What is the Margaret thing we're supposed to say now?
I don't care.
I don't really care, Margaret.
Right.
Is that it?
Frankly.
No, you don't. No, that's
don't
the
really
Gone
care,
with the Wind
Margaret.
again.
I don't really care, frankly.
I don't.
Margaret.
No, frankly's not in it. Frankly is not
Scarlett.
there. Frankly is not in it.
Frankly, Margaret, I don't give a care.
Tarnation, Margaret, I have no concern.
Care I don't.
All right, so here is Mark Rubio explaining
Marco.
this, because yesterday it was funny. Sherry and I watched a little bit of the news to get caught up, and she said, "Google what is USAID." I was like, "Yeah, what is this USAID? What is? I don't understand this either." I didn't know if Bob Geldof was involved, and
Live.
That's Live Aid.
Don't focus on his ears here either. Can you just listen to what he
Greg,
says?
anyway, Marco
Please.
Rubio can talk to us about USAID or USAID. Will you please not comment on his ears?
Please.
Try.
Just listen to what he
He got
says.
big ears.
Well, all right.
Rubio.
You comment
say-
about how long they are.
You shouldn't have brought attention to it.
All right, just close your eyes.
All right, here we go.
And listen.
You're now the head of USAID. The head of DOGE, Elon Musk, called USAID a criminal organization and added that it is time for to die. Do you agree with that?
They have basically evolved into an agency that believes that they're not even a U.S. government agency, that they are a global charity, that they take the taxpayer money and they spend it as a global charity, irrespective of whether it is in the national interest or not in the national interest. One of the most common complaints you will get if you go to embassies around the world from State Department officials and ambassadors and the like is USAID is not only not cooperative, they undermine the work that we're doing in that country. They are supporting programs that upset the host government for whom we're trying to work with on a broader scale and so forth. So they're completely unresponsive. They just don't consider that they work for the U.S. They just think they're a global entity and that their master is the globe and not the United States. And that's not what the statute says, and that's not sustainable.
Can it be reformed or does it need to die?
Well, that was always the goal, was to reform it. But now we have rank insubordination. Now we have basically an active effort where their basic attitude is we don't work for anyone. We work for ourselves. No agency of government can tell us what to do. So the president made me the acting administrator. I've delegated that power to someone who's there full time, and we're going to go through the same process at USAID as we're going through now at the State Department. I think there are this is not about getting rid of foreign aid. There are things that we do through USAID that we should continue to do that makes sense. And we'll have to decide, is that better through the State Department or is that better through something, a reformed USAID? That's the process we're working through. There are things that are happening at USAID that we should not be involved in funding or that we have a lot of questions about, but they're completely uncooperative. So we had no choice but to take dramatic steps to bring this thing under control.
They tried to whisper their agenda, but he heard it.
Doggone it.
There it is.
Doggone it.
There it is.
Doggone
Did
it.
you listen to anything he said?
He's like, aha, I got it. I heard you. You were trying to whisper.
Right.
And I heard it.
Right. Okay. That's just on you, Speedy. This is 100%.
I
on
never
you.
noticed those until you.
Greg, you've commented
No, I
on
don't
it.
think so.
Yes, about
That was
how
Mitch
long is
Albom.
the length.
No, you compared him to Mitch Albom. There's a satellite comment about a satellite dish.
There's so many out there I can't keep up.
John Kennedy.
Here comes the guy with no teeth.
Senator John Kennedy.
We got the big ears, and now we got no teeth.
Yeah, he commented on it too, Greg. If you want to hear it,
I would love to.
All right.
To my friends who are upset, I would say with respect, call somebody who cares. They better get used to this. It's USAID today. It's going to be Department of Education tomorrow.
Oh, here we go.
USA.
It's
Like a
on.
possum.
Well, these organizations are funded by taxpayer dollars, but they're activists. They're left-wing activists.
Easy, Alt Adler.
They're Soros aligned. They are globalist aligned.
Here he goes.
It's not good for the country. It's not good for people. It's good for a leftist, Marxist, communist, globalist agenda.
Watch it.
And if you see the legacy
Release Alt
media,
Adler.
if you see the legacy media act in a negative way and try to paint it like Trump's doing something evil, or the left Hollywood likes, or just it has to be corrected because of the way they're reacting.
Legit.
Every crooked politician is crying about USAID going away. I wonder why.
Here's Omar. Oh, yeah. And whatever Omar is for, I'm always right on board. Here is. How you say her name? Ilhan Omar.
Oh, boy.
She's upset about USAID being dismantled. Here we go.
And she's going to claim that it's okay.
It is really, really a sad day in America. We are witnessing a constitutional crisis. We talked about Trump wanting to be a dictator on day one, and here we are.
See, this is what they do.
This is what the beginning of dictatorship looks like. When you gut the Constitution,
It's not gutting the
and you
Constitution.
install yourself as the sole power, that is how dictators are made.
He's dismantling the deep state. He's bureaucracy. When they say he's a threat to democracy,
Oh, he's mad now.
It's because he's actually a threat to bureaucracy.
Go
and
ahead.
these
Yeah.
crooked
Preach,
bureaucrats.
Adler.
That's
not what he's doing.
It's okay. Okay.
Yeah, we
Blood
do know
pressure
about
down. Blood pressure down, Chris. Okay.
We do know about Kennedy and the omelet comparison too.
Yeah, that was
We know
very
that.
funny. But what you're saying, everyone needs to listen because the left plays this game with you. They're big government people. Only the emotional left could try to convince anyone, to Adler's point, that shrinking the size of the central government and taking away some of its power that it never had inside the Constitution is somehow becoming a dictator. When you're dismantling a central government that has become a dictator, that doesn't make you a dictator. It actually sounds the opposite. Mm-hmm. But if you don't understand all that, and somebody says something real emotionally and acts like they're about to cry and screams, it's once again the sky is falling, which they're the masters of. And oh gosh, this sounds bad.
Yeah.
Look, do a little homework. It's a giant agency that has no accountability, and we're shrinking it and bringing accountability. That is not being a dictator. That's actually the opposite.
And what the left hadn't figured out yet. In Trump's first administration, hey, you could spew all this hate and he's this and that, and America kind of fell for it. And then the Biden came along. And now Trump's back and was like, no, that's played out. We're kind of done with it. I think America's smarter on picking up all of their propaganda about him being evil and a dictator and he's doing this and he's doing that. They were like, no, let's just fix it. Let's fix it, and we're going to have to take all this because this is their game plan.
Yep. You got to have
This is their message.
Yep, you got to have the stomach for all this. Remember, and we're well versed on this. You got to ignore the maniacal and the unreasonable. They're going to scream. They're going to holler. They're going to make accusations. They're going to lie, and you just have to, put in your Raycon earbuds, put it on the isolation mode, and stay the course.
Yep.
We'll be right back.
This is the Rick Burgess Show.